The 6th annual edition of Entrepreneur India 2016 was recently held in New Delhi with the idea of bringing together inspiring entrepreneurs and investors to discover and unleash breakthrough ideas, innovations and insights to a common platform. This two-day gala event was a culmination of inspiring speakers, power-packed sessions and an award ceremony. The event was flagged off by the welcome speech by Ritu Maurya, editor, Entrepreneur magazine.
Very, very warm welcome to the 6th annual edition of Entrepreneur India Convention, the 2016 edition. I think for me, entrepreneur, the biggest sort of trend that I have seen in entrepreneurship is to be your own boss. It's about defining and it's about finding your own identity, which has become more important than ever it was before. You'll find that there would be a lot of talk on startups, but for me, this brand really stands for everybody. It stands for an Uber driver, it stands for a startup, it stands for a shopkeeper, it stands for Mr. Mukesh Ambani, it stands for Baba Ramdev, it stands for Abhinav Bindra, it stands for Rahul Yadav. It has everybody in its wake. And that is what makes Entrepreneur a global brand. And that is why this convention is today for everybody who has the urge in the belly to be his own boss. For any idea, for any passion, for any sort of innovation that we think of today, money is really one of the most critical factors which can drive it. Show me the money is really one important structure that we plan to bring over here. But one piece of caution that I would like to give to entrepreneur is that it is important and money will follow. And thankfully, I think it's the first time that I have seen in India in the last few years that finding money has become easier than it was ever before. I mean, we have Mr. Mehta over here. You can tell him what struggles he must have gone through to find the right money when he was putting up his business. So money has become easier. But let's not run after money. Talent, good talent will always find good money. My advice would be to let the money come to you rather than you going after the money. I think fundamentally what businesses will work the best and will be the most successful are the ones who have the change factored into them, who have the change or what they are going to change today in the world factored into them. I think the business idea that we are so passionate about, we want to just go out and show to the world, to the investor, to our consumer, we need to understand amongst ourselves what is the idea and how it is going to change the world. In India, if you're living in India, you're doubly lucky. Everybody you're going to meet is going to come and tell you that your idea is bad or it requires work to be done, you're not ready, you're too young. There are enough sort of criticism that you will get all around. But you have to close your ears to that noise. You have to be your biggest critic. That is the most important thing if you want to be or want to be growing, want to see yourself growing as an entrepreneur. The world is changing very fast. India is changing very fast. The ecosystem has now come to be right for businesses. So I think this is one of the most important message I have for all of you is that you need to love your customer. It's very difficult to define or distinguish between excellence and money. And in Indian environment, sometimes it's very easy to make money. But I can also tell you this, that money will be short-lived. So don't be in the race for making short-term money. A business can only grow in its true way if jugaad is left and you find the real and the true meaning of your business. While all the rosy picture we are painting for young startups or to encourage young startups, one thing I can tell you is failure is not fun. And when you start a business, it's only going to be dark. There's not going to be any light, believe me. You have to be able to balance your failure to the point. So don't do businesses just for fun. Balance it with fair so that you can achieve the fantasy that you have in mind to be able to justify or to be able to find your right sort of direction as an entrepreneur. So ladies and gentlemen, with that I'm going to sort of end right here. But my biggest message to all of you would be this show is really about growing you as an entrepreneur, growing you as a human to make yourself better and more ready to be an entrepreneur. So ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome once again and enjoy your next 2 days over here. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we now hear from our next speaker, Mr. Rajesh Mehta.
Basic topic today is what is entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurs are made. And what is Make in India. Any startup or any entrepreneurship as such, in the beginning, is going to be difficult. But the most important thing for an entrepreneur, what I feel, what I have learned right from the beginning when we started till today, is the focus and the conviction about your idea. When we started, I felt that when the whole industry is in the unorganized sector, there lies a big opportunity for somebody to come and organize it. So for an entrepreneur, the most important thing is to sense an opportunity. That yes, there is an opportunity. Then find a method as to how to realize this opportunity. And then to stick to that method. So friends, I think in this inaugural session with this few words of mine, I thank you all very much for hearing me patiently.
Well, it's time to hear on the success of these startup programs from our chief guest, our keynote speaker, Shri Priyank Kharge. So please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and let's welcome Shri Priyank Kharge.
Being an entrepreneur is really a tough job. Entrepreneurship comes with a lot of challenges, and they can be really harsh challenges, but nevertheless, rewarding challenges as well. Being an entrepreneur can be quite a daunting task. Firstly, you will need an idea. Once you have an idea, you will need financing for the idea. You need a great team who will back your idea and will work with you. You will need validation of your idea. Then you will have to deal with the unknown factors of how long will the idea last, finding customers, will customers like your idea, and will the idea really pay off? Government of Karnataka firmly believes that it's not about ideas, but about making ideas happen. Karnataka was the first state in the country to envision IT as a sunrise industry and drew up an IT policy way back in 1999-2000. This vision of ours has today accelerated Bengaluru as the second largest technology hub in the world. We have always been the torchbearer for the technology revolution in India, and we have always led from the front, just not in IT, but also in pure sciences, biotechnology, geographical information sciences, aerospace technology, and nanosciences. We also take immense pride in the fact that Bengaluru startups have received funding support of over $1 billion in the last 2 years. And quite surprisingly, and I think this is our actual success story, where smaller cities like Mangaluru, Mysuru, and Udupi, they have all clocked close to $25 to $30 million last year. The objective of the state is to ensure that Bengaluru remains in the lead position and in the country, and to develop other important Tier 2 cities as startup destinations as well. In our endeavor to achieve this, we have envisaged the country's first multi-sector startup policy, under which we will encourage 20,000 startups during the policy tenure, and out of which 6,000 of them will be product startups. Government of Karnataka has taken a bottom-to-top approach, and our policies encourages and ensures that innovation mushrooms right at the college and at the university level. We're also hosting a monthly startup open house, again a first of its kind in the country, where my team and I personally sit along with startups for a day and try to sort out their problems or queries. So the government is ready to listen to the startups, and this exercise, this open house which I have every month, gives the entrepreneurs the confidence that the government is approachable and committed to building the ecosystem, which is very important for us to remain in the lead. Lastly, being an entrepreneur can be tough, but it is most rewarding journey as well. The best thing about being an entrepreneur is that they are the pioneers who are willing to take up a challenge, solve a problem that no one else has dared to, and in the process, they make a difference. They become the change that they want to see, which is a spectacular thing to do. I wish you all good luck, stay inspired, and have a wonderful day. Jai Hind.
Following the keynote addresses, the Entrepreneur India 2016 saw a riveting panel discussion which had thought leaders and industry stakeholders deliberating on the topic of capital city getting funded in 2016-17, balancing both sides of the table.
What do you really look for in terms of unique features when you look at investing in businesses in India?
Sure. So I think at least we believe that India is a very unique market in terms of where technology is an enabler for a lot of fundamental problems which exist. And to take a lens that the business has to be only about a tech platform with no offline linkage is not something that we explicitly look for. And multiple companies in our portfolio represent that belief.
We do, of course, a lot of healthcare related, both applying data for healthcare and disruptive fundamental science being applied to devices, again engineered from India and applied at an MVP level here in India, but then you can kind of apply it to emerging markets. So we have companies like Forus and multiple companies that are doing that very successfully.
A question for you, Piyush. I mean, when you started off Lenskart and you had a couple of different businesses you were looking at, how did you zero in on the glasses, the specs? It's traditionally an offline business, and how did you kind of take it online? And then if you can just share 2 minutes your experience.
If you hunt for a problem that is large enough to be solved and you're very focused on solving it, the chances of whether it is online or offline, I think somebody will find you who's right fit or right partner for that business. But I think I have always built the business thinking that I would fund the business and run the business like my own business and make it a viable problem-solving business. And then I think I am not from a finance background. I didn't know how to raise money. I think if we build businesses with the mindset that, what will a business that a VC will fund, I think we'll probably end up building the wrong business.
And David, when you look at India, and you've also looked at Southeast Asia, and you've seen both sides of the coin, from the corporate side, from the investing, what do you look at from entrepreneurs? What kind of businesses really excite you?
I think the thing that's probably changed the most for me, I've been covering the region for about 17 years, is the adoption of the smartphone and the addressable market size that's come with that. And so if you think about even India, 5 years ago, it was a mainly PC-centric market. Your addressable market size was small, infrastructure was poor, logistics was poor, and it was just a difficult market. And I would say Southeast Asia was largely the same. Difficult market to build scalable businesses. And you flash forward to today, and you have people in tier 2 cities that can get access to a low-cost smartphone, download an app, get access to brands and products and services that they never could before. And so it's opened up an enormous amount of potential consumers, which I think is probably making it one of the most exciting times to be building a business in this part of the world, India and Southeast Asia.
And Nitish, when you looked at starting of Nazara, you were way ahead of the game in terms of gaming. There wasn't that much of funding available, and you've raised relatively lesser capital. So how did you bootstrap, and some of the experiences that you had?
Sure. So I started Nazara when I was in college at the computer center. I used to see a lot of my friends play a lot of these online multiplayer shooter games and all, and I just thought I was into gaming from a young age, computers at a young age, coded my first game when I was 8 years old in basic language. So it was always there in my mind, but when I saw this happening in my college and the enthusiasm that my friends had for gaming, I thought that gaming will become big, a big opportunity at some point of time. I didn't realize I was like 10 years, 12 years too early for that space in India at that point of time, or perhaps I would have not started it then. But luckily I didn't know then, so I started. The first few years, it was obviously slow. There were a lot of challenges, a lot of times when you thought, the business model is just not taking off. In my case, we kind of persevered, the team persevered, and, the smartphone, mobile revolution has kind of really helped us grow over the last few years.
Thank you. Thank you.
Building enterprise growth through technology was the theme of the next session, where Ashish Arora, CEO, Key Accounts at Airtel Business, gave a presentation on how Airtel is instrumental in supporting startups in India.
unlike a normal belief that a large telecom company likes to deal with large customers, Airtel sees startup as a strategic segment for us. In fact, we have been running a strategic program around engaging with smaller and startup companies, and we had great success with some of the emerging startups. Fundamentally, what we do with them is we serve them across everything which Airtel can do for them to really build their proposition as well as their capability. So we engage with them right from point of view how they are serving their customers and how we can help them improve that. We look at how their operations are running and how we can help them improve that. And we also look at how their products and other engagement points are integrated with their customer experience, and we help them with that. And the technology comes in all of them. It's a 4G technology, Wi-Fi, Airtel Money, our overall broadband network across the country. So all of them are bits and pieces in which we bring them together to them in a very, very strategic manner.
The next session at the Entrepreneur India 2016 was another power-packed panel discussion where the panelists discussed and deliberated on the topic of Growth 101, driving in the scale-up mode. Cashing out the potential for fintech was the next topic where the panelists highlighted the prospects of financial technologies in their respective businesses. The panelists also shared their expertise and experience related to the topic.
With the ever-changing environment, with the ever-changing... Yeah, so we have had a very wonderful session, excellent exchange of ideas. There's a fine blend of panelists, both from the VCs to the startup entrepreneurs and the bank representing. All three form play a very major role in the entire ecosystem today, especially fintech being the buzzword. All in all, what has come out very clearly is that the future looks more collaborative. Fintechs, banks, financial institutions need to work in total harmony to launch a lot of these solutions. And with the much needed buy-in that has come in from the government, I think the fintechs or the startups have now got a proper recognition within the Indian industry, and hence the entire outlook of even the external world has changed towards that. So all in all, a very good event and a lot of takeaways for us out of these sessions and a lot to implement as well.
The two-day event ended with the Entrepreneur India Awards for the year 2016. Recognizing the efforts and significant contributions by companies and individuals across multiple categories.
All right, to honor the Entrepreneur of the Year in Service Business, SCM and Logistics, please welcome the Group CEO, Sohanlal Commodity Management Private Limited, Mr. Sandeep Sabarwal. Let's have a big round of applause as we welcome the Entrepreneur of the Year in Service Business Healthcare category. Please welcome Mr. Sarthak Bakshi, founder and CEO, International Fertility Center, empowering the joy of parenthood, eradicating the stigma of barrenhood. Moving into the next category, the Entrepreneur of the Year in Manufacturing Business Technology. May I request the co-founders, Bolt Auto Technologies Private Limited, Mr. Satyajit Mohanty, Mr. Rana Kumar Samantre, to kindly join us on stage. Our next award honors the Entrepreneur of the Year in Innovation in Technology category. Please welcome the CEO and co-founder, Directi Private Limited, Mr. Bhavin Turakia. Moving into the next category, which is to honor the Acharya, Business Mentor of the Year. Please welcome on stage the Chief Mentor, Midas, Mr. Parag Shah.
The Entrepreneur India 2016 was a huge success and it concluded on a very positive note. Here are some of the most prominent stakeholders who gave their side of the story.
The best time to invest is when there's a downturn or when the going is tough, because that's when innovation happens. So in fact, I think this is a year going to be of hunkering down, of going deep into the investments that most VC funds have already made, but also looking for some very exciting startups. So I think the chaff and the best are going to be separated from the rest.
So I think you're starting to see entrepreneurs go after this space with the right teams, and in many cases they need cross-border capabilities, which is also one more reason why it's not good that the team can just sometimes build the product and market it, but can they market it globally?
So I think the environment is very ripe. We're seeing the max amount of entrepreneurs. Even globally, 50% of the entrepreneurs are between the age of 25 and 44. And we're seeing even in India a lot more risk taking at much earlier stages, because I think that whole stigma attached to failure has gone now, and people don't mind trying out new businesses, and even people who are in in companies and who are doing well want to take that risk and go out and be an entrepreneur.
I think digital technology or IT technology will take us India into into another orbit, just like what cell phones have done to telephony. In my time, I had to go to a minister or to an MP just to get a landline. It was not given. And just see, we've crossed all that by introducing the mobile telephone, and now everybody, in fact, people have two phones now.
If you look at, especially we're talking about India as a market, it is still evolving. Currently, we have certain challenges like, there is no central language per se, and there's a lot of cultural influences in how you want to put content out there. But in essence, if you were to look at define the market, I think there is a lot of scope where thought leadership would become an active choice or the way forward for entrepreneurship.
It is mostly the startups and entrepreneurs who are coming up with these kind of radical ideas, transformative ideas, disruptive ideas. So I am very, very sure that the future belongs to entrepreneurs, and unless we cultivate a sense of purpose, a sense of inquiry, a sense of achievement in the potential entrepreneurs, we will be missing the bus.
It's wonderful to be here. I've learned so many people, and the people are so interactive. They really listen and they're asking you, see, and especially now there are so many Q&As that people are asking how it works, and also to share information. I'm coming from Germany, I've worked in many other countries, and what does it mean compared to India, or how we can adapt each other. That's really interesting to be here.
My takeaway would have been that as an entrepreneur, we need to constantly keep learning. We just cannot be sitting in our offices and saying that, there's a lot of work to be done. There would also always be a lot of work to be done. But what is more important is we take time to learn ourselves. And I think that's why this show like Entrepreneur becomes extremely right platform for everybody, is because it gives you an opportunity to learn from like-minded entrepreneurs, and that is really what can help everybody to grow their enterprises further.